Mr. Jim Alt is our Toastmaster and our timer today, so you may want to just keep an eye out, especially when we get to the panel part, to keep an eye out for his green, yellow, and red card, as he will be shutting us all off, including myself, if we talk too much. So. All right, so I do want to thank you all for joining us. I honestly wish that we had more people with us, but hopefully we'll do this a couple more times, maybe throughout the year, so get people ready for next year. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Patti Walter. I am a distinguished Toastmaster as well as a past district director for this division for District 53. I have decided that I will go back to be I'm sorry, District 53, the district division. What am I? District director, and then now I'm going back to being a division director for Division D this year. I was asked to, and I agreed to. And one of the reasons why I wanted to do this is actually there's a couple. I've been an area director twice. The first time I was an area director, I was told, "Oh, you just have to go see the clubs twice a year. That's all you have to do." And that's basically all I did because that's all they told me I had to do. There was no growth in my clubs. My areas did not benefit at all. The next year, I did it again after learning that there's more than just visiting the clubs twice a year. Although that is one of the recommendations, is visiting twice a year so you can get the area director report. There is so much more to being an area director. But it doesn't mean that you have to give 40 hours a week to do it. And that's part of understanding what the roles and responsibility. So I just want to paraphrase by saying to you tonight, I'm not getting into deep details of what an area director does. That happens during training. Once you've decided that, yeah, I do want to be an area director or I want more information, then we'll go into a deep dive. Right now, I'm giving a real general overview, talking about what area director's responsibility is. And then I'm going to turn it over to, if any of you have questions for our panelists. We have 3 panelists on. We have Annette, Megan, and Colette. I don't know where Colette went. Is she still with us? Because I don't see her. Okay. Oh, and Naya's here. Hi, Naya. So we're going to, the 3 of them as panelists, you can ask them questions. I have some questions also I will ask them. But we'll do that during the end of the thing. So this is why I wanted to be a director. Plus, honestly, I have 4 areas, and I'm struggling to find area directors. So I was hoping that by doing these sessions, we could get some people interested. Jim, next slide, please. So Jim is actually, I apologize that I keep having to do them. I'm having a lot of technical issues tonight, so I had to send it to him. All right, so the agenda is we're just going to go an overview of responsibilities. I will ask questions if you have, questions about them, but I'm not going to get into deep dive about what happens, like when I say you have to visit the clubs or you have to have executive meetings. I'll go a little bit, but I'm not going to go deep dive on what that really means. I'm going to talk to you about some tools because the first time I was an area director, I knew nothing about tools. Nothing. Did not even think about any of them. But these tools are there to assist you, and they really are beneficial tools. Then we're going to go into a Q&A. I got that reversed, but we'll do a Q&A real quick if anybody has any questions before we go to the panel discussion. So that's what the agenda is. My thought tonight is the first 30 minutes or so, we'll just talk a little bit about the roles and responsibilities, the tools, and then we'll spend the next half hour talking to people who have been area directors so you can ask them your questions. Go ahead, Jim. All right, so let's talk about the responsibility or the responsibility overview. So first, I want to make it very, very clear. You are there as a liaison. You are there to help shorten the gap between the district and the clubs. That is your main responsibility. You are not there to control a club. You have actually very little say about what a club does. Yes, you make recommendations. Yes, you help them wherever they ask for being helped, but you can't force a club to do anything. Clubs are supposed to be self-sufficient in the way that they run the club the way they want to. As area directors and division directors, We're there to support them at whatever level they are and to help them get better and be successful and sustainable. Nothing is worse than starting a new club. It's there 2 years and then we lose it. So it's really important that we get them being successful as well as being sustainable. So that is part of being the liaison. You are the first contact point, the first point of contact that the club has before you go into the district. The way you do that and the way you're successful as that is you have to build a rapport. Now, the rapport is so important. And it's not just a rapport with one member or two members. You really want to try to make sure that all members are comfortable. You want to build that rapport so when you do go to the meetings or you do Zoom in on a meeting, no one's like, oh my gosh, why is that person here? That's our area director. Oh no, we're going to mess up. No, that's not what it is. It's your equal playing field. Yes, you have the title of area director, but that doesn't make you any better than any member, any executive member at that meeting. You're there again for the support. Another way to build a rapport is to find out what is going on in the club at all levels, the membership, the morale. Keep your eyes, I can't say this enough, 2 eyes, 1 mouth. Keep your eyes open, keep your mouth shut. Basically, it's the best way is to go in there for the first couple times and just listen to what they're saying, listen to what's going on, answer questions, offer suggestions if they ask. Never ever say anything negative at a club setting. If something does not look right or go right, that is something you have a private conversation with an executive member or the executive team. You don't say, I would not do that or don't do that. Nope. You can make recommendations. If they say, well, if they say, yeah, we're really struggling to fill all our slots at our meetings before we start the thing. You can say, well, don't do what you're doing. Say, well, you can make recommendations. Well, maybe you take 5 minutes the next meeting and try to start filling it. Or maybe if it's a corporate, maybe you practice sending out emails 2 days after the meeting with a little bit about what they missed and asking for rules. Things like that. But don't ever say, well, obviously what you're doing is not right. You don't want to be negative. You want to stay positive. And you want to make an impact. So but by making that impact means that you want to build that rapport. You want to let them know what tools are out there that they can use. You want to make sure that everything stays positive, lighthearted, everything is happy, and make that impact. And it could be just the impact of, hey, you got extra people doing speeches, or hey, you got 2 or 3 new members. Whatever the impact is that you make to the club, you're making it a better club, and that's really what the importance is. And then the last thing, which is one that a lot of the area directors didn't know about this year, is that you do have to hold the area contest. So you do need to hold an area contest. Don't panic. There will be training for that. I guarantee you, as a division director, I will hold training for my people. As past chief judge, I will offer to hold training for whomever wants to be it. Because it's very important that the area contests are a happy, good experience, because we want people to compete in them. And if there's something that is not happy for someone, they're not going to compete the year after and the year after. Any questions before I continue? All right, let's go to the next one. All right, so let's talk about some tools. The first tool that is very important is the club officer handbook. It's really important that the club officer, and you have a discussion with the club officer, that they read the handbook. They read what each responsibility is in the handbook. And I haven't looked at this year's, to be honest with you yet, but I believe each handbook for the officers still has the monthly page in the back of it telling them what they need to do each month. So, hey, this is what you should be doing in July. Hey, this is what you should be doing in August. This is what you should be doing in September. So have them. It's a handbook, but it's usually 2 to 3 pages of what their each role's responsibility is, which on the executive team. So it's not like they have to read a 40-page handbook. So the first thing is if they don't know about the club officer handbook, that should be one of the things that you share with them when you first meet them. The second thing is you should work with them on the moments of truth. A lot of clubs do it just to say they did it, but they never go back to it. So as an area director, you should be referring back to the moments of truth 1 or 2 or 3 times throughout the year. Hey, how's your moments of truth going? Didn't you say you were going to hold a club open house? How did that go? Did you open it? What can I do to help you? So you should ask them for a copy of the moments of truth if they don't know what it is, and if you don't know how to do it, you should reach out to get someone to explain it to them. Because the moments of truth and following that is their success plan. Those are what develops a club. A moment of truth is that eye opener. It's that, hey, what are we doing good? What do we need to improve on? And then the things that we need to improve on is our success plan. And clubs have success plans, and then the area should base their success plan, because you do as an area director need to fill out a success plan. You should base it on your club's success plan. So if your clubs say, hey, each club, just say you have 4 clubs, each club is going to have an open house, 1 open house a year. Then your area success plan should be, I will participate in 75% of open houses, because maybe you can't make one of them. But your success plan should be based on what your clubs are doing. When you review your success plan, you should also be reviewing the success plan of the club. Now, if you're an area director now, and I know that some of you are, you should take those success plans and you should share them with the new area directors. Because one thing, and I will be totally honest with you, that District 53 does not do well, is we don't build successful success plans. And what I mean by that is everyone thinks June 30th, the year ends, and we're done. No. The success plan of the area should be something that maybe you won't get everything done by June 30th. Maybe it needs to go into September. You should be sharing that with the next area director so that that area director is not reinventing the wheel. And the same thing with the clubs. When you're working with them on success plans, you should say to them, hey, look long term. Okay? Look long term. What do you want to get out of this, in September? What do you want to get out of this in April? What do you want to get out of this in June? What do you want to get out of this in next September? So that when they're having their success and their change of guards, they have something to hand over that they continually build on. If you think about it, if you've worked in any corporation, okay, this is 2026, I can guarantee you they are not building their plans for 2027. They are building their plans. What do they want to do in 2030, 2031, 2032? And that's really how we should be helping our clubs look at that. So they're more sustainable. They're looking more into the future. And nothing on a success plan is written in stone. It can be changed. So if something happens and they find that what they thought they needed to do is not really what they need to do, but they need to work on a different area, then have them update their success plan. It doesn't have to stick in stone. The next thing is, excuse me, is the area director report. Now, I am not going to go into details about that. But the area director report really is tied into the moments of truth. If you ever looked at an area director report, the information you're putting on there is information that coincides with the moments of truth, coincides with the club success plan. It's just one big thing. But the area director report is a report that you fill out so myself as a division director and the senior team can look and see what's going on, because they can't be in 100 or 200 clubs, but they can see what's going on. I can see what's going on. I can see, for instance, where a club needs to improve on, what recommendations, that I may go to you and say, hey, you know what, they're really building great here. Um, they're really building great. They're getting their education awards in. They're getting them on time, but the membership's an issue. So what are you going to do with them for membership? What can we do for membership? Okay. What are recommendations? Things like that. The other thing with the area directory report is something that you really should be familiar with before you walk in and do it. Now, I've had some area directors say, "Hey, I'm going to send you the area directory report. Fill it out, and that's great." No, that's not. It should be a mutual conversation. You could send it to them because there's information that you can't pull off, and you don't have 3 hours to sit there and talk to them. But um, you should be really filling it out, and I'll tell you why. I have had area director reports come across my table. We're saying membership, everything's great. No problems with membership. They have 8 members. People, 8 members, there's a problem with membership. But nobody wants to put the true facts in the area director report because they're afraid they're going to hurt the club's feelings. And that's where that rapport is, that being the liaison is. You have to be honest with these reports. Yes, the clubs do see them, but you have to be honest on what you put in there. And that's having that report. That's saying, hey, listen, I put down that you're medium on membership because really you're not a strong club with membership yet. You only have 8 members. Let's see what we can do to get it up to 12 members. And then we'll work on getting it up to 20 members, in over the next couple months, over the next 6 months, 8 months, 10 months, whatever. But you have to be honest with them. I've had people say, oh, their educational awards are great. They haven't had one put in the system. They're not great. Well, they're like, well, they're doing speeches. Okay, they're doing speeches. Why are they not putting them in the system? Stop. And that's where they like, oh, we didn't know we need to do it. Okay, that's where you offer the training and the guidance. Well, let me show you how to do it. Or they put them in and the officer didn't know they need to approve them. There's different things. So that area directory report is a great tool, but you have to be honest with it. And you have to let the people know that, listen, I'm filling out this report. It's not for us to say, you're doing this wrong, you're doing this wrong. It's for me to see a big picture of the club and then for you and I to work on it to see where we need to improve. And how does that relate to the club success plan? So if I'm seeing this and you don't have anything in your club success plan, let's relook at the club success plan. Let's relook at your moments of truth. Maybe we need to add something to it. So again, the moments of truth, the club and area success plans, and the area directory report, although they're 3 separate tools, they work together in order, again, to make that club sustainable. The other thing that's really important that a lot of clubs knew nothing about is the dashboard. They don't know where the dashboard is. They don't know how to read it. They don't know the importance of it. And I'm going to stop here because I need something to drink. Just give me a second. But I want to talk about something else with the dashboard. And that's if you look at all of this, the purpose of all of this is to get your clubs distinguished, right? The moments of truth, the success plans, the area director reports, the dashboard, all of those are tools because we want the clubs distinguished. You're going to have clubs that say, I don't give a care if I'm distinguished. I don't care if I'm distinguished. Or you're going to have clubs say, the only reason why you want me to be distinguished is because it makes you look better or it makes the district look better. Yeah, you're right. If you're distinguished as a club, then my area looks better, and the division looks better, and the district looks better. But more importantly, I want you to be distinguished because I want you to be around in 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years. I want you to grow. And that's where we need to make sure that people understand. Being a distinguished club isn't so the district looks better. And it does look better. I'm going to be totally honest with you. The reason the distinguished club is there is because to make the club look better, to make the club be sustainable, make the club, and I can't say sustainable enough. We want the club to be successful so it continues on. It's not going to fold. and things. So the dashboard gives them all the information as to what they're going to be or what they need to be distinguished. It keeps track of their membership. It keeps track of all of their educational awards. It's all in one place so they can see. It also, as a dashboard, when I was the area director, I used the dashboard to add a little fun to the meetings. I said, hey guys, look, you're doing great with membership, but your education awards are not so high. What can we do? Let's have a little competition. Let's have a little competition in the club. Let's say for the next 3 months, let's see who can give the most speeches. Let's see who can build those education awards. Let's have a little fun. Competition is good, and it does bring excitement to the club. It does put a little more work on people, but you could use the dashboard to do things like that. There is what they call the health thermometer that's out there that people have used when a club is thriving on something but not on the other. So they they can run the health thermometer, and it could be used to be competition between members to see who can bring in the most newest members or who can bring in the most guests, or it can be used in whole where, okay, let's see what we can do to make our club better. I will tell you, this is probably, I think it was pre-COVID, maybe not. We had a club that was like inches from closing. Inches from closing. They had a area director go in and say, hey, did you ever hear of this? They're like, no, what is it? So he introduced it. And basically he said, what you do is set a goal, so many points. And each time you get your guest, you give your club 10 points. Each time someone finishes a level, you give yourself 25 points. Each time you get your roles, responsibilities done, get your roles filled before the meeting, you give the club so many points. And they're like, okay, you know what? We'll try this. And this is the God honest truth. This happened, I believe it was January or February. That club was distinguished by the end of June because they worked together. They set a goal how many points they wanted to do, and they filled that thermometer every meeting. Every meeting, before the meeting, whoever was in charge of it made it redder and redder and redder and redder. And by doing that, it brought in a little competition among each other, but they worked together for the benefit of the club. So that can be used in a couple different ways, like at a club level. I have used it personally in my club where we were short members, but we were doing great as far as doing education. And we had fees. So what we said is, okay, at the end of every month, whoever brought the most guests in will get them a Toastmaster pen or whatever. So we went out using some of our money and we bought, bookmarks and pens and magnets and little things. And then at the end of the quarter, we bought bigger things like tote bags, backpacks, like $20, $25 things. And we had competitions about us who could bring guests. And it worked because we went from having 10 members to having 20 members by the end of that year. Because we all worked together, competed against each other, but we worked together. So these are some of the things that you can share with the clubs to get them excited. So there's nothing wrong with using some competition amongst each other or having a set goal for a club and watching them work together. And then the last thing I want to talk about is tools or area council meetings. A lot of area directors do not hold these. And it's really important to hold an area council meeting, and I'm going to tell you why. What is more beneficial, 4 clubs working independently or 4 clubs working together? Right? So if you have these area council meetings where you're inviting, say, the president and the secretaries to every meeting, and now maybe not all of them, and you hold them, they're now working together, like almost like sister clubs. So they're going to start supporting each other. Like, hey, running questions. We're having a real hard time getting members to pay fees. Oh, this is what we did. We're totally online. We just went and we started using this tool. And now our members are paid online all the time. Really? Yeah. Can you have someone help us? Yep, sure. So they start talking with each other at these area council meetings. They'll see what each club is doing, where they hurt. And sometimes even still I've had them say, hey, listen, why don't you come to one of our meetings? This is when we meet. Why don't a couple of people come to our meetings? See how we do our meetings. I went as an area director and division director all the way up because I had an area director say to me, Patti, how about a couple of you guys come over to one of our meetings? We're in the same town. Our meetings, we're a corporate club. Our meetings were at noon. Their meetings were like on a Thursday night. So 3 or 4 of us said, you know what, you want to do this? And we're like, heck yeah, why not? So we did lunch, we did dinner after work, and we all drove over to where they were meeting. Learned so much more about what Toastmasters was. Learned what was beneficial. Learned so much on how we could improve our meetings. Because here we are, we're a closed corporate club. I knew nothing about what was outside those doors. Knew nothing about what a division, district, any of that is. And all because we had someone say, come join us. And that was what your area council meetings are going to do. It not only gives you the benefit of talking to all of your executive members at the same time, but also gives them the benefit of getting to talk to each other. And like I said, wouldn't that be a great thing if they all work together, especially when it comes to area contests where you're going to have to pull them all together in? It's better to pull them together in July, August, and September than it is in January, February when you have to do that contest. Now, the area council meetings could be done quarterly. They can be done on Zoom, or if clubs are close enough and you want to go and have a dinner, and have them pay for it. We don't have the money to pay for it. Or meet at somebody's house or whatever. That's perfectly fine, but you really should have them at least quarterly, just to help each other. And then you could fluctuate the time and the dates. It may be that some of them go on Wednesday, some of them go on Thursday. So 1 quarter you do a Wednesday, 1 quarter you do a Thursday. But the most important about the area council meetings is don't hesitate to find someone that may be interested in being an area director and ask them to be your secretary. So they're there at every meeting, they're seeing what's going on, they're learning from you, and then you are building again for the future. So with this being said, I have no more to add. I will ask Sharon. I see Sharon just joined us. Sharon is the newly elected district director. And I will ask Joseph if they have to add anything as our executive members. And Sharon just shut her mic off and her camera off and everything, like she's ignoring me.
No, Patti, I'm on my phone because I'm actually in 2 different meetings, and I don't know how to use Zoom on my phone.
All right, so you all said, do you have anything you want to add?
No, I think you did well. I think area directors is a great opportunity to develop skills, and at the same time, you don't have to be afraid of if you didn't do something the way you thought it should be done, because that's what Toastmasters is all about, is an opportunity to continue to practice and learn as you grow. So I think I don't really have anything else. I thought you did you covered it well. Thank you.
Joseph, do you have anything you want to add before we go into the panel?
I was good with your presentation. When I was an area director and now a division director, you need to recognize your strong area directors, and the area directors need to recognize their strong clubs. You can still encourage them where they can even do better. But don't, like you said, don't tell them what to do. Look at the dashboard, especially. There's so much there to actually look at the quality of the clubs, not just in the conversations. Be prepared when you talk to the clubs, and that will help to guide you in where you need to drive their conversation. Much like I hear Mohan doing is, what can you do better in this area?
Mm-hmm.
And, make it self-directed for growth and stuff. Uh,
Totally agree.
and, and, and where you need help, do not be afraid to ask the division director.
Perfect. Thank you, Joseph. And I skipped recognition. Recognition is so important at all levels, at the club level, at the area level, at the at the division level. Recognition is very important. All right, so I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to ask you to please stop the PowerPoint for me, James. And I am going to remind you all that Jim is our timer. So this is how we're gonna do it. If you have questions for the panel, please raise your hand and we'll get to them. Or if you don't know how to raise your hand, feel free to put them in the chat and we will get to them. I have some pre-questions here to ask that I'll start off with. I have 3 panelists that have volunteered today. They are Annette Wright, Colette Long, and Megan Bushneck. So the 3 of them have offered to be panelists. They currently all are area directors, so they're going through this right now, at least for the next 27 days. And some of them are moving on to division positions. So they're here to help you. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them. And I'm going to start. This is how we're going to do this. My first question I want each one of you to answer. Then after that, we'll just take turns. You'll have 2 to 3 minutes to answer. Okay? As the second question goes, and afterwards, just say I asked Annette the question, and she'll have 2 to 3 minutes. If Colette or Megan want to add on to it, you'll only have 1 or 2 minutes to add on to it. So for time purposes. So the original response is 2 to 3 minutes. If either one of you want to raise your hand and say, I'd like to add something to that, Patty, you'll have 1 to 2 minutes to do that. Okay? Everybody good with the timing? Jim, you're all set? All right. So my first question, and I have Annette to my left, so I am going to, green is 2 minutes, yellow 2.5, and red is 3, and he will shut you off at 3. All right. So my first question, and this is to all of you, and Annette, I will start with you because, again, you're to my left. How did you personally benefit from being an area director? So how did you personally benefit from being an area director?
I would say probably the biggest thing that I enjoy, which is a benefit, is the relationships developed with club members. The clubs, I've been their area director for 2 years now, actually. So I have gotten to know many of them pretty well. Especially this year, I have attended the meetings more than, of course, just twice. And so I've, really developed some relationships with them. I've been to their executive committee meetings in one club trying to help them. And so I feel a good connection with them, that we have a good mutually respectful relationships. And I think that's been a nice thing. I also like to see how, the clubs improve. Maybe it was a recommendation I made. For instance, one club, they did a lot of round robin evaluations, which doesn't really benefit the evaluator in my opinion, but also it eats up a lot of time because the round robins, everybody takes more than, if everyone even takes just 2 to 3 minutes, it really eats up into table topics. So recommendations such as going to one evaluator, and when they put that into play, it did provide more table topics time, which people enjoy. So that's a nice thing that I've benefited from seeing the improvements come to play. Additionally, I would say it's challenging, and I benefit from the challenge of helping them out and trying to provide some feedback. And sometimes it's not accepted, and that can be a challenge too. When you feel that, oh, geez, if you guys would maybe have an open house, and as you mentioned before, you can't make the clubs do anything, and you can suggest things many times. It doesn't necessarily come to fruition. But it's a good challenge, and I do feel that I have learned a lot from it, and uh, hope to use the skills as division director. Thank you.
Thank you, Nat. Megan, do you want to answer that same question, please?
Yes, I will ask you to repeat the question first, please.
Okay, if I have to.
Sorry.
How did you, I'm just playing with you, Megan. How did you benefit from being an area director?
I benefited being an area director by seeing how other clubs ran their club meetings. It actually helped me as a club president. I've been a club president multiple times, and it helped me to see, oh, that club isn't doing things exactly the Toastmasters standard agenda. I like their additions. I have one club that does love notes, and it's appreciation in their club for people and what they've done. I've had clubs that have combined the grammarian and word of the day with the counter role to be a wag master role, which I've utilized. And so being an area director while also being a club officer has benefited me by allowing me to bring what I've learned in these other clubs to my own club.
Thank you, Megan. Colette, you're next.
I'm going to pick on a couple of the things that Annette and Megan have both mentioned. The primary thing for me is relationship building. Relationships are everything, personally and professionally. Everybody wants to connect. It's been so great meeting so many different people and using my Toastmasters communication skills, both listening and speaking, and getting better at communicating with people in the other clubs. It's been a challenge for me having all corporate clubs. I'm a teacher and I've never worked in a corporate environment, so that was still is a steep learning curve for me just because I lack experience there. But it's been similar to what Megan said. I'm also a club president for my club, and it's been fascinating to see how the 60-minute corporate lunch clubs work because it's so different than mine. And I try and bring in as many aspects that I like as well. Like one of the clubs, the first meeting I went to was the speechathon, and they gave 8 speeches in 60 minutes. They were at their desks at 11:59, and they're back at their desks at 1 o'clock. And they handed everybody a stapled evaluation packet, and you just had to fill it out in between speeches. It was wild and fast, but what a great way to get introduced to the members of their club and what great speakers they are. So it's really helped my communication skills with the relationship building, and that's been a lot of fun.
Thank you, Colette. Nia, I was not aware if you are here as a past area director or as a member, so I apologize.
Hi, I am a current president, and I am going to be an area director this upcoming year.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I didn't want to leave you out if you had signed up for panelists, so thank you for sharing that with us.
You're very welcome.
Okay.
Patty, you're on mute.
All right, I shut myself off. Colette, I'm going to start backwards with you. You have 2 to 3 minutes to answer. If Megan or Annette want to add on to it, we're going to give them a 1 or 2 minutes. Colette, as a division director, you are my area director, and I say to you, I need you to find your replacement. What are you going to say to somebody to get them to be an area director?
Interesting question. Huh. I guess I would look for people who are looking to grow their leadership, communication, and people skills. Uh, I'm assuming I've been around clubs more than just my club. That I've been to the clubs that are in my area. Hopefully, would have had enough experience to know enough people to kind of have an idea of who would be interested in growing their leadership skills and who has the time to work on getting to know other clubs, and that they're also experienced enough in understanding what makes a successful Toastmasters club and what they need to look at other clubs, and that they're interested in helping and sort of being the liaison between the area director and getting the clubs going. And then
Perfect.
I'd have a one-on-one conversation with them.
Great. Thank you, Colette. Annette or Megan, either one of you want to add anything?
I would add that I would look to see who was a usually attending member, someone who participated in the meeting, someone who used pathways and was kind of a promoter of using pathways. And so someone who would bring those experiences to the clubs.
Perfect. Thanks, Annette. Megan, anything you want to add?
I would add if there's anyone who has participated in the area contests, they're likely individuals who want to progress and grow. And so they're potential leads, I would say, for the area director role if they're not already. Well, they can't be in it if they're in a contest. So, yeah, people who participate in contests, go to them.
Perfect. All right, Megan, I'm going to ask you to stay unmuted, because I'm going to give you the next question. Can you share with us approximately how much time you felt you used as being an area director? And was there any time where you knew that you had to put more time in because of something that was going on that you had, like, for instance, area contest? So can you share that with us?
Yes. And I actually sent an email to someone who had been asked to be an area director, a breakout of the timing. And it might have been high. I don't think it scared them away. And it depends. It so depends. This is my second year being an area director. And my first year, I went in very blind. And I would have loved a session like this, Patti, because I thought going into it, you have to do 2 area director visits a year. And I didn't know that there were district meetings and potentially division meetings. And so I don't even remember the question you asked me, but goodness, it has changed my time spent from the first year to the second year. The first year, I went into it blind and was starting out doing the bare minimum. This past year, I'm a perfectionist and I want to do everything right and get it done well. And we had a fall contest in our district this past year, which was not easy. So the amount of time this second year as an area director, I don't want to scare people away, but it was a lot and it was difficult. And so I will say that you have to have an area contest in the winter time frame. Plan in advance. Get people signed up for roles for that in advance. Make it clear to clubs that if they're sending a contestant, someone from their club who's not a contestant has to volunteer to help you. Delegate as much as you can so that your time is not as much I'm not trying to scare people because it's very, very worthwhile and leadership and everything, but plan in advance as much as you can with your communications and outreach, and it'll be good. Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. And you made a couple of good points. Delegate is very important, especially when it comes to contests. It's an area contest. You don't have to do everything. You can delegate people to help get judges. You can delegate people to help get functionaries. You don't have to do it all just because it's your area contest. The other thing you said was plan ahead. And that is so important, especially with contests. Don't wait till the last minute. And like you said, just say to them, hey, if you're sending a contestant, can you send me 3 other people? Maybe they all can't be judges, but maybe they can be functionaries or something else. And maybe you don't get 3, maybe you get 1 or 2, but at least it's more than if you don't ask. So again, delegate, ask, and plan. Very good, Megan. Thank you so much for sharing that. Annette or Colette, do you want anything to add?
I found it. Oh, go ahead, Colette. Go ahead.
It was important for me. This was my second year running the area contest. The first year, I took it on late because no one else had taken it on. And I learned this year, make sure you read through what your role specifically is as the contest master and read through what the chief judge does and what everybody roles are, because that was for me was key in learning to who to delegate and to where and what I had to do, what the chief judge had to do. I set up lists of judges and functionaries for the chief judge to contact, and I checked that ahead of time and included emails and contact information. But read through what the required responsibilities are of the people involved in the contest, because that made such a big difference from the first year I ran the contest when I had no clue. And you can never have enough people and enough contacts. You have enough, and that gets into building the relationships and the meetings in your clubs. You think you have enough people and you don't. Have 3 or 4 or 5 more because stuff comes up at the last minute. That happened in I ended up running two area contests at the Mystic Aquarium, and I ended up running both, and you never, you got to be covered from both sides. So build those relationships and start contacting people early. A lot of people, some members find it fun. I promoted it as a way to come and hear other people speak that you don't normally see. It's a fun environment. In my area, unfortunately, the Mystic Aquarium has to host the contest because the other 3 clubs are corporate and they can't host contests. So I know every year it's always going to fall onto Mystic Aquarium because that's just the way it rolls in our area. But right, planning ahead is so important. And it really helps if people, I found if the club members see in the area visits that I'm positive about it and I'm psyched and I'm pumped about it, that absolutely fed into them being willing to find more contestants to send. That the energy definitely helped there from the first year I ran the contest. It was a huge difference in the amount of participation I had,
Thank which you. was
great to see because the more you have, the more fun it is.
Perfect. Thanks, Colette. So now, again, the question is, how much time did you think you spent? So,
and I think it varies. It's not the same every month. We talked about contest time, but also at area report time. The reports, it says it takes 30 minutes, but they always take me more than 30 minutes. So it's, and other people I've heard say the same thing. So that can, be a bit of chunk of time. You have to actually visit the club, of course, but it's also formulating the report, getting your ideas together, your thoughts together. And that is probably the next most time consuming thing for me anyway. And I had thought of something and now it's slipped my mind. So I will end it at that.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm gonna have one more question. We got about 6 minutes, and that way, and that I think all of you had 2 questions, right? Like you had 2, Megan had 2. So, Annette, this is the second one. And I'm actually going through my questions, and as I'm looking at them, you guys have already answered some of them, so it's already a thing. Yeah, we're going to do questions from the audience. Yep, Jim after this one. Annette, we talked a little bit about building rapport. Is there something that you thought that you did well to build rapport, especially going into a meeting with members you didn't know at all? So you didn't know anything about the club, you didn't know anything about the executive team. What's one thing that you did to build rapport?
It could be the clubs always would ask me for any, updates that I had, any comments I had about the meeting. And that was an opportunity to provide district information for one thing, but also to just have some positive words about the meeting. And I think that helps if you're coming across as helpful, but also recognizing the work they're doing. And I think that does help build a relationship.
Thank you so much. Again, there comes the whole recognition that Joseph brought up, and then Annette just brings it up, is just doing recognition. All right, I'm going to turn it around now. I know we have a couple of executive members in here, as well as a couple of potential area directors. So does anybody have any questions? Again, raise your hand, put them in the chat. Nothing. All right, then I'm going to end this way. Oh, Sharon, I saw your finger. Did you want to unmute and say something?
Yeah, I was going to ask for the panel, in doing the area director after you finish the year, I know Megan, I think, said she liked to do it a second year because she had learned a lot. Is there one thing that we could have done as the district for this coming year, done differently to help better prepare you to be able to be an area director, to be prepared to be successful?
So that question is for Nat, Colette, and Megan. Is there anything that you wish that was done before you became an area director that you think would have made you more successful now as an area director? And Megan, I think you just unmuted, so did you have something you wanted to add?
Yes, I'll respond. For an area director starting out their first year, I think there needs to be very clear roles and responsibilities. What are they going to be expected to do? Because I think I said this, I was told I needed to do 2 area director visits, and I failed miserably as an area director right off the bat because there was a district meeting with area director training my first year that I wasn't told it was mandatory. And I was told after the fact that it was mandatory and I had missed it. And so clear expectations need to be given to area directors from the get-go that they are, yes, there's 2 club visits a year, but they also need to attend X number of meetings also. So very clear expectations from the district need to be laid out for area directors going into the role.
I'm glad you said that, Megan. One of the things that we've actually done this year for all the people that we're reaching out to, we actually have created a return on investment, which includes all of the activities that are required at a minimum for them to be successful and how those apply for return on investment. So thank you for reinforcing that. And I might even send you the document to get more feedback from you. So thank you.
Nia or Ute, did either one of you have any questions for the panelists? No, Ute says no. Nia?
One, I'd like to apologize. I wasn't able to be on for the entire time. I had a prior engagement, but I'm super thankful for you guys putting this together. I am from District 63, So I'm looking forward to the merger and being a part of the larger district. And one of the questions that I would ask is, in preparation for this role as area director and making the visits as well as meeting the meetings that I did not know about. When I'm at the clubs and being engaging with everyone that I'm meeting and all of all the clubs that I'm attending, is there one thing in particular when I am reaching out to everyone that would really stick out to make sure that this is a standout year for not only myself but the others in my area that will be that I'll be supporting and being a liaison for? I guess I just truly want to be able to provide them with the knowledge that they need. So I know, like, reading my handbook and provide, is there anything that you guys would suggest? And if I missed this earlier,
So,
I
nope,
apologize.
you didn't miss it. Megan, are you raising your hand to answer that? Because I'm going to just jump right in.
I am, because
Right, you go first.
Nia, being an area director is if you want to develop in all the skills that you're going to need I'm in a corporate club, I'm corporate America, but I'm just a person too. And being an area director has been so satisfying because of the people I've met in the other clubs and seeing how the other clubs work and how they operate and growing my network of people. It's challenging. It's going to challenge you, but you're going to learn from it. And I'm not going to lie, it's tough. And you have to learn how your clubs communicate. Do they want an email from you? Do they want a phone call from you? I had a member of a club tell me, "Oh, you're the person who sends all the emails." Okay, so I'm going to back off with the emails to that particular club. And then I had another club president tell me, "I don't really check my emails." So that's someone that you have to put a phone call into or maybe send a text message to or something. And it's a developmental experience in more than just a professional but also a personal way, because you're learning how to interact with people the way they want to interact with you, and you will learn how different clubs operate. It's a great experience. It's challenging, but it's uplifting, and you'll learn a lot from it also.
Thanks, Megan. I'm going to add to that, and then if anybody else wants to ask that. There's a couple of words that you're going to say, "Oh, gosh, you're saying these words." But the first word is transparency. You're not going to know everything. We don't know everything. The thing to remember is what you don't know, ask others. Whether they be another area director, whether they be your division director, whether they be the club coach director, program quality director, district director, ask others. No one expects you to know everything, so don't think you do. And it's better not to give them an answer than it is to give them the wrong answer. So that's the first thing I would always tell you. The second thing is communication, and you said it. Be open, be honest with communication. I am taking Division D over on July 1st. I have already contacted all the current presidents for all of the clubs that I'm going to have. I introduced myself. I asked them to share my email once their elections are over to the new ones. I've asked them to share me when their elections have, who their new officers are. I talked to them about being area directors. So if I've already 2 months ahead of time communicated, I've already started building rapport with these clubs. Now, some of them know me because I've had them before. Some of them don't. But it's just, I started with an email just to let them know. I got some great responses. "Oh, welcome. Thank you for letting you know." then I will, once I continue on, I will work with the area directors to see, hey, what's the best way to get a hold of your clubs? If I have to get something out to the clubs, what's the best way? So it's transparency, it's honest communication, and then it's just being there. Just being open. Just make sure they know, hey, if you need me, I'm there. It's up to them to get a hold of you when they need something. So just make them feel that, okay, you can contact me anytime. Here and how you want to be contacted. I prefer text. I prefer email. So that's the best way to me as starting off, I would recommend. Anybody else want to add? We'll have 1 to 2 minutes, one more adding to help to answer Nia's question.
I would just reiterate to learn how to use the dashboard and read through, learn where everything is, learn what the numbers mean, and review where they ended this year's DCP in June. As soon as you have TI gives you access to the area director section, you cannot wade through that enough. I agree with whoever, Patty, and said that there's so much information in there, and you want to understand where and why they ended this year in June so that you know what areas to target. There's so much information there, and it's so important to get in as soon as you have access and to understand where everything is. There's a report on all the members' names. So there's so much information in there. Just find it and read it.
Thank you. All right, so I think we're at our time. So before we go, I do want to thank our new district leaders that joined us today, our new division director-elect Sharon Mercado, and our new CGD, Joseph. And Joseph, I am not going to even try to pronounce the last name, so I'm going to just say Joseph. If you want to jump on and say it so we all know, that's great. I don't want to crucify it.
It's Joseph Gwizdolowski.
Gwizdolowski. Okay, I'm going to remember that. I want to thank our Toastmaster, Mr. Jim Alt or James Alt. Jim, I always call you Jim. So Jim Alt for taking the time to help me out today, especially when my computer went crazy. I'd like to thank the panelists Annette Wright, Colette Long, and Megan Bushnak for being here to help out. And I'd like to thank Nia and Ute for being here to share with us what they're looking for, that they're something that they're considering. If you have not already been approached and are still considering, Sharon, I think Ute is considering, wants to talk. Please reach out to Sharon. If anybody else comes across that, have them reach out to Sharon. Sharon will help them. So thank you guys for the time tonight. I really appreciate it. I've learned a lot too, so thank you so much.